All right, good morning. It's been a couple of days. I've been doing work around the house. So we're trying to get back onto this, especially a nice cool morning. You'll notice I've already sanded the inside. There's two coats on the fiberglass. Not happy with how it kind of laid out. There's still quite a few areas in the curves here that still have the weaves showing. So we're going to put a third coat of epoxy on. However, we're really trying to work on the ends. And since everything's been sanded, I'm doing things a different way. I am going to go ahead and put in my spacer blocks right now. We're going to do a purple heart because that's going to match the thwart that I'm custom building. It's going to be sandwiched with, if you will, a pine inside in order to, again, kind of accent all of the beetle kill fungus that is in here. So we're going to continue working on this, just kind of slow, easy we go. We'll get the other sides and then we'll put the actual other piece on. I am doing both sides or the top strips, all of hardwoods, because again, that's the area that takes the beating when you're throwing it in the back of your truck. It's one thing to have a piece of art, but it's also nice to have something that's functional that you can use and abuse. And the hardwoods, we've got a white oak, then we're gonna have purple heart, and then again, another white oak on the inside. A little bit heavier, understood, and right now we're at about 24 pounds on this. So it's definitely heavier than I want, but I think the problem is the weave, the fiberglass weave. I think it's probably around a 7 or 8 ounce. When we really should be running a 4 ounce because we've struggled, especially on the inside, getting it to soak in with the epoxy. So lesson learned, we'll continue on. So let's put in some more of our spacers. All right, so there's a couple of things that maybe you didn't see in the time lapse that I want to go back and clarify. So I learned quickly that when you're doing these, it is very easy to coat the inside in between as well as the edges of these blocks when they're all exposed. If you glue these on to the other gunwale side and then put it on, that process, it's really hard to get into these tiny little slots. So again, my reasoning behind this is putting these on, and I did that on my other canoe as well, but I didn't necessarily do a good job of doing the sealing while everything was open and accessible. I put them on, glued them on, then put on the other one, and then tried to use a brush and jam in these spaces all of the epoxies or the clear coat in terms of the spar finish. So this way gives you a lot more control. It does take a lot more time, but again, it kind of depends on if you're in a rush or not, what kind of quality you want, what kind of coverage you want. And like I said, I used a little 3-inch block spacer, which is the same length as these. And then you saw how I just went around in order to do that. I did put larger blocks right here at about 52, 53 inches from the back, because that's where my thwart's going to go. And as I work on balancing this out just a little bit more, I've got a wider block that I can work with in order to adjust where I think I'm going to put that thwart for my body positioning. That's why the ruler's sitting out there, because at the center line, the instructions say you need to be about 15 or 16 inches back. So that's just my visual reminder of where am I going to be seated, where's the mass in this in order to balance out, because on my other canoe the thwart was a little too bit far back, and we did put on about a 2-inch piece of foam onto it in order to push the seat forward, and that made all the difference in the world in terms of riding level versus riding nose high. Nose high is not that big of a deal, but when you're in wind, it does become a very big deal. You want that nose down a little bit so that you're really cutting into the water. So those were some of the things that we did, and you were able to see the process as we did this.